Hey everybody, welcome to the backyard. It's December, garden's getting a little bit dormant right now. That's okay. Got something in the mail. This is from Caleb at Angry Bear Arms. Caleb is a really solid dude. I found Angry Bear last year at a convention, and I was just walking the show and found this guy, and I was like, hey, these are really nice iron sights for the money. And I'm interested in that because people often ask me for recommendations on what sights I like for co-witness irons. And he makes those. So if you're looking for co-witness irons, you can do a lot worse than Angry Bear Arms. But he sent me something that he invented that I think is pretty cool. Also, use the box as a target. Always handy. And here it is. It's the Easy Bear Micro Optic RMSC adapter mount for the Glock Dovetail. You heard that right. RMSC adapter mount for the Glock Dovetail. That doesn't look like other Dovetail mounts I've seen. So we're going to try it out. Here it is. Ooh, it comes with a front sight too. And it comes with a waterproofing neoprene little plate there for your RMSC optic in case you have one that puts the battery underneath. And we have multiple screws with different shoulders and a couple of spare front sight screws for the front sight. Again, these guys are really thoughtful. So this little thing, which you probably can't see, but I'm going to show it to you, is basically fits in the rear sight dovetail with two little posts, and we're going to screw the optic in to those posts. That's the plan. Now, I happen to have this Glock 17 Gen 2 that I got. It's a police trade-in gun with a chipped frame, so I paid next to nothing for it. And it's not an optics-ready slide. It's Gen 2. It's that old school Glock parkerizing that they don't do anymore. And it has the original plastic adjustable rear sight on it. Now, we could get a really expensive sight pusher tool to push out this rear sight. But you know how I gripe about some of the stuff that Glock does? Even on the new Gen 6, they still are doing these plastic sights. You know why I don't like them? Watch this. See if I have the thumb strength this morning. Sip of coffee to fortify. Grip strength time. There it goes. Into the weeds. All right, so rear sight's removed. And then this sight, I am going to have to actually drive into place because unlike the factory Glock plastic sights, I can't just remove it with thumb pressure. Let's go do that. All right, here we are at the workbench. I have the Angry Bear adapter started in the slide so I can then... Wait, what's that? What's that you're saying in the comments section? You don't have a sight pusher tool? Come on, man. They're cheap. Like, I got this off of Amazon, and they don't cost very much. And, oh, you want to go shooting this weekend. You don't want to wait. Well, I see how you are. Fine. We won't use the sight pusher tool. We'll do it the redneck way, I guess. Be that way. See if I care. All right. Soft vice jaws in there. We just sort of clamp that slide in place. All right. Can you afford a punch from Home Depot for like $1? You can get one of those this afternoon. We're going to hold that punch there, and we're going to redneck it in with the hammer. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Nope, move the slide. Tighter. Get in there. Uh-huh. Couple more for good luck. Yeah, you know what happens when we do it this way? You went too far. Now we got to go the other way. See, if we had done a sight pusher tool, we wouldn't have this problem. That's on you, dude. Tighten everything up real good. Fit that punch in there. Uh-huh. Let's give it the old Mark I eyeball. I'm going to call that close enough. And the famous magic words that you have to say, try to wiggle it with your thumb, and then loudly pronounce, "That ain't going nowhere." Now let's put on the optic. Okay, I'm going to do the front sight install off camera because Glock front sight installs are super easy. It's just a screw that comes in from the bottom. You don't need to worry about that, all right? There's plenty of YouTube tutorials on that. That's not what I'm all about. All right, so supposedly this is RMSC footprint, and this is adapter plate number 1. I've got actually a little instruction. Let's see if I can show this on camera. It's a little laminated instruction paper. That's kind of nice. There's adapter 1 and adapter 2. Adapter 1 has Gideon Optics listed on it, and that's what I've got. So if you have Holosons, Crimson Trace, ADE Spike, or Gideons, get number 1. If you've got the original OG Shield, Sig Romeo 0, the Plastic Fantastic, Viridians, Osite K, ADE, again, a different ADE, I don't know what a NUA is, and then basically all other RMSC platforms not specified, you want number 2. If the optic is not listed above, they recommend adapter 2, not for factory optics ready slides, obviously. And then here's installation notes. Super easy. All right, so they included this. That's really nice of them. I have 4 Gideon Optics that I can choose, but I have my Judge 2 is currently on my Glock 48. We ain't going to use that one. I could go with the OG original Judge 1, which is our smallest and lightest and least obtrusive. Or I could go with our big window Judge XL. That could theoretically go on there like for competition purposes. I kind of like the way that looks. Honestly, that's a vibe. I could do that. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Valor Mini. Why? Because Valor Mini is the heaviest. And what I want to test is we are mounting this thing just to these posts. That's it. There's no plate that's going forward with little recoil posts. There's nothing that's going to fill up these 4 recoil posts that are built into the bottom of the optic, right? So we basically have nothing soaking up the recoil of this slide jackhammering back and forth, except for these 2 posts here, which I suspect could be a weakness. So to test that to its fullest extent, I'm using the biggest, chonkiest, heaviest optic for that footprint that we make. All right, so we're just going to put it on here. It doesn't seem to... Oh! Wow, okay. So it actually took a lot of force for me to push that on. That sucker's really on there. Watch this. Can I pull it back off? Oh. Come on, Gideon t-shirt. Oh, oops. Okay, so, all right, kids. So once that's on, that's really on there. Holy crap. So their fitment for the, let's flip it around. Their fitment for the adapter versus our optic is like a Lego set. I mean, that sucker clicked into place and will not come off now. Let me go figure out which screws to use. I'll be right back.
Here's a picture of Judge 2. No, it's not the same optic, but it's a good picture that shows the holes correctly. And I've highlighted them here so you can see there's a 45-degree shoulder in that hole. And we need to pick the screws that match that shoulder so that the force of torquing the screws down is distributed evenly instead of at a pinch point. So which of the screws that are included is going to match up with that, if any of them? And here's our pick of what was included in the box. And as you can see, it's easy to tell the countersunk head is the one that we're looking for. The threaded portion of the screw is a little bit shorter than the others. We're going to see if that actually matters or not. But the cap head and the button head are not going to work particularly well for Gideon Optics. Why am I talking about all this? Because sometimes I have guys on customer service who don't want to use the screws that we've included in the box, which match our optics perfectly, and they're like, I'll just order some from McMaster Carr and it'll be fine. Well, it may work or it may not, but it's not ideal. Whether you're ordering from McMaster Carr or someone else, or you're using the included screws that came in the box with your Gideon Optic, you want the countersunk head with a 45-degree shoulder. That's going to give you the best results, the best longevity, the least chance of the screw snapping, the greatest chance that it will not back out and that will stay put and do its job.
I have got the slide clamped in my vise. I have got Valor Mini sitting on the slide. Now it's time to take my 45-degree shoulder type screws. I have some blue Loctite handy. I'm going to put them on. Put some blue Loctite on there. Oh boy. Grandpa always said if a little's good, a lot must be better. Not sure if he was right about that, but love you, Grandpa. All right, straight down into there. These are, as mentioned before, Allen heads. I would prefer Torx personally. Okay, looks like it does go in there without hitting the glass on Valor Mini, which was my concern because these have a wide, kind of a wide head to them. The shoulder angle's right at 45 degrees, but the head's a little wide for what I would like. So, righty-tighty. Feeling good and snug. I do not have a torque wrench for this application. Therefore, once again, we are going to redneck it. I'm going to turn it until the long arm of the Allen wrench begins to bend rather than turn. There we go. Turn it till it don't turn no more. There's no reason to put crazy, angry monkey strength on this. Torque it down, make it nice and tight, but let the blue thread locker do its job. Now, it's also important that I not go to the range right now and start shooting this because that thread locker is still liquid and has not set. So if I start putting recoil cycles through this thing and jackhammering it back and forth doing mag dumps, these screws can back out before the Loctite is set. The Loctite doesn't get a chance to do its job. Then I have a loose optic and my install is busted, right? So best practice is I'm going to let this sit here basically for a few hours or overnight and maybe hit the range with it tomorrow. Let's zero this thing and see how it goes. Hey, good afternoon. It's the very next day, and it turned out to be a beautiful day to go to the range. Lucky me. Here is the Valor Mini with the Loctite set, like I talked about 24 hours later. I think it looks rather handsome on this old Gen 2. I have to admit, the very minimalist look, no adapter plate showing. It's a boxy gun it's a boxy scope on a boxy gun. It's a box on a box. You know, the aesthetic kind of matches. Let's just try it out. I'm gonna crank it up from indoor mode to outdoor mode. There we go. And I'm at 10 yards. Got 3 shots. And we're just gonna zero it real quick. These are the first shots I have ever fired through it. I have not gamed this. I have a hunch it might hit really well because it co-witnesses. What we'll see. The last gun that this optic was on was my Glock 48, which I'm also carrying right now. So it's going from a Glock to a Glock, but it's going from a single stack Glock to a double stack Glock that's a full size. Is that going to matter at all? Stop talking and shoot. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so first of all, it didn't fly off and hit me in the nose. Bonus. Secondly, I'm just a touch low. So that's easy. Yeah, we're pretty much square on. I'm going to go up. Now, when you adjust these things, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The direction indicated, I have a U and then I have an arrow that's going counterclockwise. That is my point of impact. Don't overthink it. Where's the dot in the window? The dot in the window is going to be the opposite of what you actually want. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for good luck because I'm only at 10 yards. So the increments of 1 MOA per click are really small at just 10 yards. So I tend to do 5, 6, 7 clicks at a time if it's anywhere noticeable. Let's try it again. I'll go for a smaller circle this time. I'm going to go up just a bit more. And I'm just shooting 3 rounds at a time. This is Blazer 115s. I do want to zero with factory ammo, not with my cheap, crummy hand loads that I just make really fast because they're not the most accurate ever. Try it again. There we go. Okay, I think I dipped that first one. Come on. So my first group, I was aiming a little bit above this crease. I figured that was about halfway, and I hit low. Made those adjustments, I think 6 or 7 clicks. Still shot low. Adjusted another 3 or 4 clicks. Dropped this one down into the black, but this is a smaller target, so it's not that big of a difference. And then kind of, you saw me catch my breath, take a couple of good clean shots, and I got 2 rounds sharing a hole at 10 yards. Just high of the middle here. I'm going to call that good. If I wanted to, I could refine it, go back to 25 yards, and I already have a video out on how to zero your optic. This is the quick and dirty. I zeroed it in 9 rounds. It's good enough for just playtime. This is not like a go-to-war defensive save my life. I need 50 yards of accuracy gun yet. So for today, I think I'm just going to ring some steel. I'm going to play with it. I'm going to put it through its paces, and let's see if it holds 0. I just want to, let's throw it around a little bit and see what happens. So come on, let's put some rounds through it. While I'm here, I'd like to talk to you for a moment about the Gideon Optics lifetime warranty. If your Gideon Optic fails to work for whatever reason, we will stand behind our product if you contact us. But one thing that we will not warranty is intentional abuse. What's intentional abuse, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked, because, well, why don't we demonstrate that? I've been shooting some bill drills, and I've been shooting with this optic mount and the Valor on it, and it's holding up fine. So look at this. This little nail right here, this nail that's holding the cardboard backer onto the target, oh man, it's backing out. And you know what Confucius said? The nail that sticks up gets hammered down. Intentional abuse with an empty Glock. There we go. Oh, let me do this one up here. Yeah. This one down here. All right. All right. All three nails are now fully in place. Shooting range, you're welcome. I'm maintaining the range for you. And as you can see, I have really dinged up the top of my beautiful, pristine Gideon Optic here. Now, the Valor Mini, if it still works, which it appears to, it still looks like it's co-witnessed, you can't warranty this because it's all scratched up and it's dinged up, but it's still working. It functions as intended. So this is not a warranty issue. If it loses 0 and the gun no longer shoots to point of aim, then we start talking about, why did you intentionally abuse our optic? Well, I did it for the views, of course. All right, we've changed ranges. I want to do some plate rack drills, and I'm going to show you, this is just after I used the Valor Mini as a hammer and voided my warranty. So you can see it's all scratched up there. So the question is, will it hold 0? Let's find out. Well, I guess the answer is yes. I'm going to call that good. So there it is. The Valor Mini on the Angry Bear Arms mount seems to be tougher than I would have guessed, honestly. Would I recommend this for law enforcement? Probably not. Would I recommend this if you are a Navy SEAL who has to swim through salt water to assault the terrorist training camp? Probably not. Would I recommend this if you have a Glock Gen 2 that you don't want to send to a gunsmith to get cut, or you have some other gun that you don't want to permanently modify or buy a expensive plate for? Yeah, it seems to work just fine. Hold 0 seems plenty tough. If that changes in the future, I'll let you know. But right now, I'm calling this a good-to-go combo, and I'm not going to make you watch me shoot up the rest of my ammo because I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. See you later.